I firmly believe that the sun gives us life. I also think you can do sunning wrong. And I have had my fair share of time scorching myself in tanning beds, grew up in Southern California in the 80s and 90s. You can imagine. I mean, we were literally, my best friend and I joke to this day, we were putting Crisco out of the canister, the trans fat, disgusting, large substitute our parents would cook our food in. I was putting Crisco on my body. We were spraying sun in our hair, sometimes even Clorox bleach to try to get it to bleach out. Yes. We were those girls. Lots of baby oil, Johnson and Johnson's baby oil. We did all kinds of things to try to emphasize our tans. And anyway, basal cell carcinoma, right? So I have a whole episode called Safe Sunning. I will refer you to because we're not going to get into that today. This is not about whether you should use a sunscreen. That's not what this episode is about. And I'm not even going to get into the chemical sunscreens and what my issues are with them. These are the UV chemical filters. I talk about that a bit in the other episode. It's an older episode. I want you to go back and listen to it. None of this is medical advice. You decide what you need to do after you discuss your current history and past history of sun exposure with your dermatologist. I will tell you that the food you eat and your overall health and your solar callus, or the exposure you have to morning sun, midday sun, and later day sun, all matters. That's why I've been telling you guys for years to go out first thing in the morning and get a quick walk in. Do it again in the afternoon when the sun is at high noon, and then do it again in the, golden hour as the sun starts to wane, as the sun starts to set. You're getting a whole different light spectrum at each time. Those three things work together synergistically to actually help protect your skin overall, so that when you do get that midday sun and you're getting those UVB rays, which we need so desperately in order to make vitamin D, that we are not just blasting our DNA. I've talked to very, very smart people in the peptide space. I've talked to very smart people in the longevity space. And so many people tell me, like, the sun's melting your DNA. The sun's going to kill you. The sun's going to give you cancer. The sun's going to age you. Okay. Well, I have been baking myself in the sun for as long as I can remember. And unfortunately, living in Oregon, I don't get sun very often. I do think this intermittent sun blast that I get, where I'm like, no sun for 3 months, go to a sunny locale for a couple days because I have business there, spend some time outside in the sun. I think those intermittent sun blasts are so much worse for you than just living in the sun. And this is the reason I'm moving to Arizona, which a lot of you have been wondering. I'm moving because I need to get daily sun exposure. Those first 30 minutes, first thing in the morning, are probably the most critical, in my opinion, for overall health and vitality. And I fully intend on utilizing it to the fullest. In fact, I sent my realtor over to the house that I made an offer on because I wasn't in town when I made the offer. And I said, I need you there at 8 a.m. because I need to know what the sun's doing in the backyard at 8 a.m. Like, that's critical. Actually, more like 7 a.m. But he was gracious enough to head over there in the morning and tell me what the sun was doing throughout the day. So anyway, very important. You guys can go listen to me talk a bit more about that over on the other episode. You can hear me talk about chemical sunscreens and my thoughts on them. I don't care what you guys do. I don't care how people choose to protect themselves or not protect themselves. I'm not a huge fan of slathering my body in sunscreen. I have started using sunscreens on my face because of photo aging. Literally vanity, you guys, photo aging. And no, I don't like getting Mohs surgery, and I don't like having little bits of my face cut off, but I've been having moles cut off my body my entire life because I have weird atypical nevi. And my mom, who stayed out of the sun her entire life, has the same weird atypical nevi, and she gets the same amount of crap cut off of her every year as I do. So, like, sun, no sun, whatever, I'm going to take my chances. Do I have some sun damage on my hands and on my chest? Absolutely. That's what lasers are for. So, do not, uh, everything I share about how I like to do things or how I prefer to do things or what I want to do, none of it's medical advice for you. None of it. It's just me. And when people say, what do you advise? I don't advise shit, you guys. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your doctor. I'm here for educational purposes. I'm literally just telling you what I know, what I've learned, what I care about, what I don't care for. It's up to you. It's never me saying, because I don't do this, I think you should follow the lead. I know you want it to be that simple, but that is not how this world is. We're all different. We all have different risk tolerances. We all have different risk factors. You need to make decisions based on what's best for you. It has nothing to do with what I do. People say, how do you advise that I eat? I don't. I tell you how I eat. You can eat however the heck you want to eat. I don't care. I literally don't care what you guys do, choose, or don't choose to do. I don't. It's none of my business. And how I do things is none of your business, but I share it with you because this is the job I've chosen. So I want to let you know that up front, that if you choose to go out in the sun and you are concerned about skin cancer, that is the risk you're taking. I'm not as concerned about skin cancer. Although I have the basal cells, those are very benign types of skin cancers. I know it sounds bad, but basal cells generally stay very surface. They don't metastasize. I think it's like less than 1/10 of 1% actually metastasize. They are destructive. So they will ruin your face. That, the vanity factor is a big one for me. So I don't feel like ruining my face. So I get them cut off quickly. But it's, the squamous cells, higher risk of metastasis. Melanomas, of course, we don't want. But, oddly, there's too much data out there showing that melanomas may have very little to do with sun exposure and much more to do with your genetics, trauma. I've heard and read about so many different hypotheses, and some of this has been studied. Melanoma has less to do with your sun exposure than it does with your genes. So with that, we're going to jump into why I think we're all being scammed by a lot of these mineral sunscreen companies. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay, so this all started a few years ago. I have been working on this episode for a long time, you guys, because I wanted to make sure I had my facts in order. I was looking into mineral sunscreens and I was looking at zinc percentages. The reason why is because a few years ago, I realized I had some low key rosacea, like really low key. And I know that zinc is very helpful for me. So I started using baby butt balm. You'll laugh. A diaper rash cream. I started using diaper rash cream on my rosacea, on my skin. And I've always sort of been obsessed with zinc. Like zinc is probably my favorite mineral. And I have always been obsessed with topical zinc. I think it's just such a miraculous healing agent. It does so many great things. Good topical zinc. It's expensive. It's hard to come by. I used to make my daughter's diaper rash cream when she was a baby. I was so obsessed with zinc. So anyway, zinc oxide is a very cool topical therapeutic agent, and it also blocks the sun. So there's no such thing anymore in the world of sun skincare as sunblock. We're now calling it sunscreens. And there's chemical and there's mechanical. Mechanical would be your zinc oxide, your titanium dioxide. Your chemical would be all like the homosalate, the octosalate, avobenzone. You're going to see all those on the back of many sunscreens that you purchase and that you probably have in your house. I'm not going to talk about chemical sunscreens today. I am personally not a fan. You can do what you like. There's a great account. I will refer you to her name. Her account is called Lab Muffin. I think she's a PhD toxicologist. She's very intelligent. She breaks this down. It's kind of like arguing, certain factors in medicine. Doctors just, it doesn't matter how many facts somebody presents. Somebody's not going to come over to that side and vice versa. I think she does such a beautiful job of breaking down the science of it. I still don't want to use chemical sunscreens. So make of that what you will. I'm not going to use them. I don't want them. There's enough data to convince me that they're probably not our best friend. I'm going to stick with my mineral sunscreens. I'm okay with that. And I'm going to use mineral sunscreen on my face or on my chest or on my shoulders. If I'm out in the sun for too long, I am a big shade user. I like to use clothing. I like to use shade. I haven't really gotten into hats, but I have learned over the years growing up in Southern California how to utilize the palm trees and how to use the shade of trees and how to get out of the sun and how to use umbrellas. I'm not a go out in the sun and bake yourself kind of girl, but I do like to get sun exposure.